Hey yo, what up to the Retain fam? It's your boy Buhle, back with another video. Please like, share and subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and please drop down a comment below if ever you want me to record more videos and give you guys a couple of advices if ever like you need some assistance on your semen retention journey, or whether it is self-improvement on your own financial life, self-improvement into like elevating your own game, or if ever you're someone who's on the first stages of the awakening pet. So yeah, fam, I'm recording this video to tell you about like the difference that I've seen, ever since I started retaining. And I'm actually noticing now, like, like things are actually like starting to lighten up, ever since I started retaining. I'm actually on day 40 right now. I'm on day 40. Yeah, I'm on day 43 as I am currently recording this video. I'm on day 43 on my semen retention journey. My own financial life has actually shifted a bit because, on 30 days retention streak, I recorded a video that I actually said, like semen retention was actually able to help me get a small job, like just to, move up my own financial life. Especially this year, I told myself, like I want to make money. I want to like self-improve my own posture and my own physique. I'm actually doing everything that has to do with self-improvement, but using semen retention and sexual energy transmutation as the foundation of my own self-improvement journey. And yeah, on the financial scale, I've actually noticed there's a bit of like, things that have moved on my own financial life. Even if I haven't, made my first million, I haven't made my first 100,000 rands, but I'm willing to reach there as the more I'm willing to retain and transmute this sexual energy, as the more time I'm willing to be more ambitious and more creative, as like I let this energy surge throughout my entire meridian channels and throughout my entire being. So on the financial level, I've actually noticed that actually retention is actually bringing up a whole lot of things that I never thought, like would be like this effortless to actually accomplish. Because to be honest, to be really honestly speaking, throughout my entire year last year, I was actually a broke person. And like, yeah, I was really like a brokey. And like I always used to have to ask my mom and dad, for some small pocket money, even if I was done with matric, even if like I was also going through a whole lot of challenges when it came to my own shadow work, learning how to integrate myself whenever it comes to the real world. Because when you go through an awakening, when you're going through that shadow work, when you're going through the stages where you realize that the matrix is real, and you still have to find your own identity within this matrix and within this illusionary world, like that is full of ego, that is full of materialism, that is full of indoctrination and propaganda, that is full of like distortions that are actually causing men to be more feminine, that is causing men to be more weak, that is causing men to leak out this creative life force that they actually have, just by constantly drinking alcohol, constantly smoking, and like chasing after girls and women, and trying to actually increase the number of their rosters, but not knowing actually that depleting themselves at the end of the day. So apparently, at some point, when you're actually someone who's actually at the age of 18, and you realize all of this, and you're still poor, you're still broke in some way because you don't actually have a job, you don't have a small financial income, at least maybe you'd be more independent on yourself. Because honestly speaking, because when you're gonna talk these type of things to so many individuals, and you're still broke, you're still poor, and like like you haven't actually sorted things out, like things really become hard, especially if ever you're on the first stages of your awakening. Chat, awakening on your journey and like being broke definitely makes things much more harder, because at some point you're gonna seem crazy, you're gonna seem like like things are ain't going well in the head, because people are just gonna listen to what you say, and they're just gonna look at your life at some point, and they're gonna think you're just caught up in within your own delusions, you're just caught up within your own stress and anxieties. Maybe you're being overwhelmed and anxious about facing the real world, but at some point maybe you are stressed, you are anxious, you are in a state of fear, because you're gonna go deal with the real world. But whenever like you go through an awakening, you see through the distortions, you see through the illusions, even if you haven't reached a certain peak on the materialistic level in life. Like, things really become different, because the level of perception and awareness, and like, like your own like morphic field is actually vibrating much more high than most individuals. And at some point, it really hard to integrate all of this whenever it comes for you to actually, like, put on the social mask you have to put out into the real world, whether it is going to work, whether it is going to college or university, whether it is going to, like, like the institutions that you usually go to that has to do with the social spaces. At some point, you'll have to learn to integrate yourself as in putting in the mask, because if ever, like, you try to put yourself out of the matrix, you try to, like, distance yourself because you don't want to be too much caught up within this holographic illusion. You don't want to be caught up into the third dimensional plane with its desires, within its pleasures, within all of the, like, the materialistic needs and wants that the ego, like, desires within this world. Yeah, it becomes a really difficult process, even like the practice of semen retention, because semen retention itself, it's part of those esoteric, concept, like, most people are hardly unaware of, especially most modern day males nowadays. They are hardly aware that actually you can retain your semen as a man. You can retain and transmute it towards, like, improving your financial life, improving your intelligence, improving your, like, your spirituality, improving each and every single aspect of your life, especially bros going into their early 20s, because I've noticed that most bros who are going into their 20s right now, they're partying, others are drinking, others are smoking, others are constantly sleeping with girls within each and every single month, trying to increase their roster, because, they want to feed, like, the social expectations from individuals who are within the matrix. They are wearing this social mask, they're fulfilling their own animalistic desires, the animalistic pleasures and instinct, which actually feeds the ego, not the soul and the spirit, and also depletes your intellectual level. So the matrix, at some point, like, it really hard whenever you see through all of these things, and, like, you're still broke, you're still young, you're still inexperienced. So if ever you're someone who's going into their early 20s, or you're actually in your 20s, or maybe you're at, like, your middle 30s, and you're about, like, transition at a time of your life where you realize you gotta start taking things serious, I'm advising you to take things real serious, because this world that we live in, it doesn't matter how much knowledge and information you have, as long as you're not applying it into practice, you're not applying it into use, the world will just see you as a scam. The world will just see you as this crazy person who's constantly feeding themselves with delusional information, with delusional, like, concept that is filling up their mind, and they're not accomplishing anything on a materialistic level. That's just how people really are. So whenever, like, I even started noticing all of this, I told myself this year I want to improve my financial life. I want to improve my financial game. I want to start recording more videos and start expressing all of the things that I've noticed. Start expressing all of the things that I've, came across, as I started awakening, as I started becoming more spiritually conscious, as I started become more conscious of the everyday patterns, the everyday reactions, and the reality of this third dimensional plane that we live in. At some point, it made me realize that as much as I'm a person who's willing, to surpass the matrix, I'm a person who's willing to surpass the global system that is actually brainwashing and indoctrinating people to actually live their lives within a limited box, within, like, their own constructs on the mental level, on the subconscious level, on the spiritual level. My intention in life is to surpass each and every single limitation that has been binded to majority of the collective conscious of most individuals, whether it is spiritually, whether it's on the mental level, when it comes to time and location, when it comes to gaining access to the things that we humans are actually supposed to gain access to. But since, we've been told that the only thing we should ever do is wake up, eat, go take a dog by the toilet, go make money, just put on the social mask, just do everything else what everyone else is doing, then at the end of the day go buy a house, get a car, then get a wife, and you know just live each and every single day doing the very same things that your parents have done, doing the very same things your grandparents have done, doing all of the things even your peers and everyone else is doing. Like reality itself in a way has been conditioned in a way that limits us, from living out to our full potential. Of course, these materialistic desires and pleasures and all of these successful achievements are not really a bad thing, but so many people have identified themselves with these things. So many people have identified themselves that, okay, this is the only reality that can be truly lived. This is the only reality that can be truly, experienced as like you're walking on this journey of life. And this is why most people are depressed, most people are anxious, most people like are actually unfulfilled, because there's actually a gap within them on the internal level. Their potentiality is actually binded by these constructs. Their potentiality is binding by these chains that has been, conditioned to majority of us. And I've always been the same person who has also done the very same things. But you know what? I'm actually gonna tell myself that as long as I'm retaining, as long as I'm transmuting this energy, as long as I'm engaging in my spiritual practices, engaging with my own ancestors, my own spiritual guides, the divinities, like that are watching me from the higher planes, if following the guidance of my own spiritual leader, Imboni, Babuzilezwe, and subscribing to African indigenous spirituality and using new age spiritual concept. And while I'm retaining on this journey, I'm definitely gonna do as much as possibly can to break all limitations that have been binded by us in this construct, even on the mental level, because there's a whole lot of things that are just not right in this world. And there are some people who notice these things, but most people are binded up by the fear of the social mask. They're binded up by the fear of the ego. They're binded up by the fear of not wanting, of not having to fit in, not having to live up to the way all of these people have lived up to within the matrix all their entire lives. So when you're also gonna start engaging in all of these concepts that I'm talking about, especially semen retention as a young modern day man, it becomes really weird for most people, especially even the girls who gonna actually know that, oh, this guy is actually not busting, this guy is actually not releasing his nut, this guy is actually not, like chasing after women, constantly wanting to increase his roster. At some point they're gonna think you're weak. But if ever you're a man who understands the power of your own creative life force, the power of your own sexual energy, and how it can illuminate your own pineal gland, your own third eye, the seat of the soul. If ever you know how this energy could be used, to increase your vibration and energy, and how this energy can be used to rejuvenate your cells, to rejuvenate your skin, to rejuvenate your testosterone, to actually tap into your own divine masculinity. There's nothing wrong with practicing semen retention and retaining and transmuting the sexual energy. And yeah, don't actually feel less of a man, especially if ever you're living a chaste lifestyle, you're living a lifestyle where you're maintaining and retaining and cultivating this energy in a more sacred, holistic way. Because at the end of the day, girls will actually drain you emotionally and mentally and psychological if ever you do not have ambitions and goals, and you do not have clear goals in life, and you don't have the drive to do things, all because you're afraid of women validation. Trust me, women ain't gonna take you nowhere, and they're definitely not gonna take you serious as a man if ever pulling up your game. So at some point, yeah, even retaining, most girls and women you come across on who will definitely know you're doing this practice won't understand you, and that's not a bad thing. But if ever you wanna get it on, you just wanna do what you gotta do with the girls you're gonna be dating, my advice for you is actually learn how to do the microcosmic orbit meditation practices. Learn how to have the orgasmic draw practices, and try to strengthen your pelvis muscle so you can actually do what is referred as tantric S3X, how to have non-ejaculatory S3X. Maybe instead of letting this energy leak outward within, within your urethra, the the thing that you have, you know. If ever like you don't wanna like expel your semen or like expel your sexual energy outward, but you wanna like ejaculate it throughout your entire meridian channels and up to your spine until you know it reaches the higher faculties of your brain, maybe like activating certain dormant neurons. Yeah, tantric S3X is the best, you know, way you can also, you know, engage in this practice. And to be honest, right now I'm also still trying to practice how to have those type of S3X experiences, because at the end of the day, there's nothing more sacred and more powerful than my own S3X energy, especially ever since I started retaining. I even noticed that even like this small job that I got, it actually like made a difference. Like it made a small difference. This small minimal income that I've, you know, gotten, you know, ever since I started, you know, getting, you know, like these weekly salaries, especially the fact, you know, I've been working at the construction site, even if I've been busy lately. And yeah, there's a whole lot of things, you know, I've been doing, you know, it's at work, so I won't be always recording that consistent. But as long as, you know, I have these free days, or maybe like when I come back from work at home, I'm gonna record these videos. But long as my financial life is gonna improve, my financial game, I'm gonna start also use this money to invest in certain skills on how to make money, how to build profitable high income, you know, skills on how to, you know, build multiple income streams at once. Because I definitely know that I won't be living, you know, like the rest of my life being dependent on one job. At some point I know I have to build multiple income streams. I have to know how to build passive income. But as long as, you know, like these small minimal incomes are coming in, you know, ever since I started retaining, like, chat, I'm no longer like a brokey that I was last year. And of course, this is just the beginning of a whole new step. This is just the beginning of a whole new journey. And yeah, chat, I just wanted to talk about all of this. As much as I sound contradictory, I talk about the whole various concept, because to be honest, I'm not really gonna only talk about semen retention and female attraction and the semen retention journey. I'm definitely going to talk about each and every single aspect that has to do with self-development, each and every single aspect that has to do with modern day men, the things that they're going through, things that most gents like actually need some guidance and assistance for, especially someone who can they relate to. Because most of these YouTubers and most of these influencers and celebrities, whenever some of them I look at their videos, I realize some of them have already reached the peak of their lives, where they've made so much money, they've had so much, you know, things that have done. Others are already driving cars, others are already at a much more higher scale, you know, than most of the individuals who are still starting out on the lower scale. So if ever, like, you know, someone like me who hasn't actually reached those greatest peaks of his life, who hasn't reached those levels, if ever like I'm starting to record these videos right now and I'm talking about all of this concept right now, even if myself I'm still, you know, being part of this journey, I'm still trying to do these things, at least there are gonna be people 3 to 4 years to come, people 5 years to come, 6 years to come, who are gonna relate to some of these videos that I'm recording right now. Especially if ever I'm gonna keep on retaining and transmuting and using this energy to elevate myself to the next peak. Yeah, it's definitely gonna like help more individuals to have someone they could relate to. So yeah, yeah, there's a whole lot of things I just wanted to talk about. And yeah, keep on retaining, keep on transmuting, keep on, you know, like counting, cause at the end of the day, you gotta tap into your own divine masculinity. You gotta reach the greatest peak of your version. You gotta like chase your goals, your ambitions. You gotta chase your drive. You gotta improve in each and every single aspect of your life. And one thing I should tell you, don't really care much about girls on the semen retention journey, whether how many females are you attracting. Cause this is another trap that I notice most gents go into the practice of semen retention. They hear about whenever you start retaining for 60 to 90 days, you're gonna actually start attracting females. And you know, when you attract females, you're gonna get like, you know, this sudden ego boost, you know, like, okay, this girl was looking at me, this one is just, you know, using like flinching around, trying to give me signs. Okay, I could literally go to her. Like, yeah, I see all of these videos about this female attraction part, and girls, showing you certain signs that getting interested to you because your pheromones are starting to be different. This semen, whenever you start retaining it, you start rejuvenating yourself externally and internally. So all of these things are just other traps to actually fulfill the ego, because at the end of the day, your ego is going to get you blocked somewhere, because you're going to have expectations that you're going to actually attract as many girls as much as you want to attract them. Of course, as a bro, there's nothing wrong with attracting females, there's nothing wrong with attracting girls at some point, because yeah, we're all bros at the end of the day. We just gotta do our shit, but don't actually like go into the practice of semen retention distinctly for women, distinctly for girls, because at the end of the day, these people are gonna drain you, because at some point, if ever, like, even you yourself, you can start retaining, you can retain and retain, but if ever you're retaining but you're not using this energy that you're cultivating with the retaining practice to actually do everything else that has to do with your own passions, with your own dream and goals, and you're just having expectations that you should actually attract goals in your life, you're definitely gonna relapse, or you're definitely gonna attract low vibrational girls and women who are just gonna be there temporarily, so just to gain your energy. And the moment you've leaked that energy, then they just disappear as if like they were never even there in the first place. And I've watched videos where they actually talk about this. And at some point, even if right now I'm on day 43 and I haven't noticed that a lot, of course, I've been someone who's been talking to women, I've been someone who's been talking to girls. Like, yeah, this was just a social skill that I learned to develop, because otherwise I've been simpy. I've been a person who's been afraid of talking to girls. I've been a person who has had multiple rejections, multiple friend zones, multiple occasions where, yeah, things did not really go well when it comes to girls. But yeah, at some point, yeah, I did get lucky. I did, did things that I had to do. I did get it on. But even if right now I'm retaining, I do notice a significant shift, or like a significant improvement when it comes to the female dynamics in my own life. But this is not something I actually put into my own mind, because life is literally much more greater than that. So for those who are practicing semen retention, don't actually do it for the females, don't do it for the girls, do it for each and every single thing that I've mentioned across this entire video. And yeah, this is actually a really, really long video that I'm recording, and I just thought I was gonna talk about a few simple things. But yeah, if ever like you're a bros who's willing to change your entire life, thank you for really having the patience to watch this long. Please like, comment and subscribe to the channel. Please drop down more videos on what you guys want me to talk about, and I'm gonna keep on retaining, I'm gonna keep on cultivating, I'm gonna keep on transmuting, and see ya next time.